An American Werewolf in London, a film best known for its unique blend of both horror and comedy. If this film didn't exist, then I feel like other films that came out after that also mixed horror and comedy together, such as Beetlejuice, Gremlins, Evil Dead 2 and Ghostbusters, might not have been made if it weren't for An American Werewolf in London. It also was the first film to win the Best Makeup Award at the Academy Awards, and it was the film that made Michael Jackson choose John Landis and Rick Baker to direct and produce the makeup effects for his Thriller music video, which is of course one of the most iconic music videos of all time. The film itself follows two Americans, David and Jack, who are taking a walking trip through England, and they both get attacked by a werewolf. Jack gets killed and David gets injured. Whilst David is in hospital, Jack, who is undead, comes to visit him to tell him that it was a werewolf that attacked them both and that he should kill himself before the next full moon, before he actually turns into a werewolf himself and starts to kill others. So as you can tell, this film's plot is basically more comedy than horror. In terms of films that mix horror and comedy together, An American Werewolf in London is a really good example, although something like Evil Dead 2 works a lot more for me. It's a much funnier film and it's a much creepier film to me too. But we're not going to be focusing on all the boring aspects of the film. We're going to be focusing on the film's opening set inside the Slaughtered Lamb pub. In this scene, Jack notices a 5-pointed star on the wall and questions it after Brian Glover's character tells a joke. Jack's question doesn't get answered, and instead the pub goers become very hostile towards the two. David and Jack are told to
beware the moonlights.
Of course, Brian Glover is a very memorable aspect of this scene, but he's not the most memorable aspect of this scene. The most memorable aspect of this scene is obviously Rik Mayall. Obviously. So of course we have to ask the question, what the fuck is he doing here? Well, it's actually pretty simple. The film's director, John Landis, was taken to London's Comedy Store by Jim Henson and Frank Oz, who are obviously best known for their work on The Muppets. Frank Oz, outside of The Muppets, is of course well known for his role as that guy in the background of the scene of Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Whilst at the Comedy Store, Rik Mayall and Ade Edmondson were both performing what was most likely a Dangerous Brothers routine, which John Landis really enjoyed. After they were done, he met both Rick and Ade backstage, and John Landis offered both of them a part in An American Werewolf in London. Of course, Rick agreed to be in it, and Ade didn't show up, which is a shame because seeing both of them in the Slaughtered Lamb pub would have been really cool. So yeah, that's it. Honestly, after rewatching the film, I think he has a good amount of screen time in the movie, but it would have been better if he actually had more dialogue. Try and guess how much dialogue Rik Mayall has in the entire movie. I'll give you 5 seconds to think. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 words. That's it, he only has 3 words. If Rik Mayall had a bigger role in the film, that would have been great, but I don't know how he would have fitted it into the film's overall plot. Although Rik Mayall doesn't really say anything at all in this film, he still manages to give a really good performance. He's obviously well known for his over-the-top, energetic style of performing, but I think Rick was really underrated as a general actor. His facial expressions are really funny in something like Bottom, but even here he gives a really good performance without basically any dialogue. I think the most interesting part about all this is that this is 1981 Rik Mayall. At this point in time, he was only known for his stand-up comedy with his Rick and Kevin Turvey characters and his early work with Ade Edmondson. The Young Ones wasn't even a thing yet, and I feel like if The Young Ones came out first and made the impact on British comedy that it did, then maybe Rik Mayall might have had more to do in the film. Who knows? Maybe it would have been cool if Rick was the one to tell the Mexican joke in the pub, and not Brian Glover's character. I mean, Rick is the only comedian in this scene, and it's weird that the comedian isn't given anything funny to do. As said earlier, both Rik Mayall and Ade Edmondson were asked to be in the film, and Rick was the only one who ended up in the movie. If Ade was also in the movie, would that mean that he and Rick might have had their own big scene in this film? John Landis did say that he didn't really have a role for Rik Mayall in this film, he just thought he was a funny person. Again, I feel like if The Young Ones came out first, then maybe Rik Mayall would have gotten more to do in this film. It's always fun to see people spot Rik Mayall in this film. I think the main reason why people go, hey look, it's Rik Mayall, when they watch this film is because having Rik Mayall, a comedian, just sat there and not saying anything and doing anything comedic is just really odd. In terms of Rik Mayall's filmography, this is actually the most popular film he's been in, but he doesn't actually do anything in it. The most popular film featuring Rik Mayall in that actually has him doing something in it is Drop Dead Fred. Drop Dead Fred is obviously a popular enough film but it definitely isn't as well known as An American Werewolf in London. Of course, if you know anything about Rik Mayall's filmography, then Drop Dead Fred would actually be his third most popular, and An American Werewolf in London would probably be his second most popular film. His number one most popular film would probably be Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but, well, that's a long story. To make it quick, Rik was cast in the first Harry Potter film as Peeves the Poltergeist. He filmed all his scenes, but unfortunately he was cut out of the final film. Sadly, as I'm making this video, nobody has seen the Rik Mayall Harry Potter scenes, and I really want to watch them. Okay? Also, fuck you Empire Cinemas for crediting Rik Mayall in your Harry Potter 20th anniversary re-release when he wasn't even in it. You bastard! I'm getting a headache. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. What I'm basically trying to say is, filmmakers, why did you give Rik Mayall nothing to do in your movies?
That's him! That's the one! Bastard, I hate him! Now that one there! The extra! He never says anything, he just drinks all day! Look at him! Look! He's gonna buy another drink! Is that his own money? No! They fill his pockets full of change, push him into the wool pack, and shout, "Go on, mate! Drink as much as you like!" And on at closing time, they give him a wage packet!